One Pride, what's going on? It's your boy T, back at it again with another episode of Talking with T. The season's finally here, and this is what we're finally going to talk about. My expectations for the season, what went down in preseason, what went down in the training camp, the state of the Detroit Lions right now, man, I'm pumped. We're less than 10 days away from kicking it off with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's time to roll, it's time to go. So what did I take away from preseason? Unlike most people, I'm glad our starters didn't play in the preseason. We got enough work in the joint practices, and in the joint practices, you can put yourself in situations that you're not necessarily going to get in preseason. In preseason, you're trying to see who's on your team. You're running simple plays, like that's why we're running a lot of power. That's why we're running a little simple pass plays, and people are getting mad. Why aren't we opening up the playbook? Because it's Nate Sudfeld and Teddy Bridgewater. We're trying to see what we got with the second and third string players. So relax on this. That's what preseason's for now. That's condensed onto 3 games. The joint practices are where you're going to get the most work. I'm glad we got them against the New York Giants, who was a playoff team last year. They got some studs on their team, and it sounded like our first stringers, our starter, balled out against the New York Giants in the joint practices. And the same goes when we went down, or when we hosted Jacksonville a couple weeks ago. We played really good against Jacksonville. We got some good work against another playoff team. So I'm not real worried about our starters not playing in preseason. What I am pumped about was how our second stringers were looking at. It really goes to show how much depth we have on that defense line. You got the Okwara brothers who were balling out. One of them is probably going to get cut, unfortunately. And then on the defensive tackle, this was probably one of my biggest needs for the Detroit Lions is defensive tackle, but right now you're seeing that we kind of got some depth right there. You got McNeil, you got Bugs, you got Broderick Martin, who is coming on, who we drafted this year. Then you got Levi Onwuzurike, who last night, he struggled last week against Jacksonville, but last night he kind of balled out against the starting offensive line for the Carolina Panthers. And I know Carolina doesn't have the best offensive line, but hey, it's good to see flashes from somebody that needs to make this team and who needs to make an impact this year so he doesn't start to look like a bust. I'm really thrilled with how the second string D-line was playing. I really like the linebackers right now. I really think Derek Barnes, Anzalone is going to be really solid. Then you can sub in Jack Campbell. And I don't like the whole, maybe I'm just a biased fan, or maybe I'm just a hardcore fan where I don't really pay attention to where players are drafted. I don't care if Jack Campbell doesn't play as much this year, but keep letting him develop, because eventually he's going to be the green dot of our helmet. I love that he played a lot in preseason because he's getting more experience. So in the season, if he's not starting, that's totally cool with me. If he's out there for 30 plays or so, that's all we drafted him for, and he's going to make an impact. He's going to be in the right position, and he's a baller. He's an Iowa linebacker. Eventually, he's going to start figuring things out. Derek Barnes was having a good training camp. So is Alex Anzalone. And you guys already know, I made this video a couple weeks ago. You know who I'm really pumped about is Brian Branch. I really think the way he took Tracy Walker's spot, and it's no hate against Tracy Walker, it's nothing against Tracy Walker, but Brian Branch, I swear before the draft when I was watching him on Alabama, he was the best player on Alabama's defense. He was flying around, and you know how fun it is to have a stud safety who's going to make the play, and we got 2 of them, and CJ Gardner-Johnson and Brian Branch. I'm so thrilled with that. It's going to be really fun to watch. It's just like Minka Fitzpatrick. You're going to have ball hawks back there, Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker. It's good to finally have depth, and all these problems that we're starting to look at, like some players might get cut that we are fan favorited of. These are good problems to have. That means your team's getting better. That means your team's getting infused with talent, and it's survival of the fittest at that point. I'm really pumped. Now let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. The second and third string offensive line is kind of scary looking. Last night they kind of bounced back and held their own, but they needed to step up from last week's performance, and they did. They bounced back. But honestly, as long as we can fill in with like a couple plug and play players like we did last year with Evan Brown, that's what we're doing with Cody Sorsdale, that guy we drafted in the 4th round. He was doing pretty good. He was playing all positions of the offensive line, which is key, so he's going to know where to go. I'm real thrilled with how this preseason went. We avoided major injuries. We got a solid backup quarterback where if Jared Goff were to go down, we got a solid one who's going to come in and get the job done. The wide receiver spots, Chase Cota, Drummond, you got Maurice Alexander, you got all those guys balling out to find Antoine Green. You got all those guys trying to make this team. It's good problems to have. We got a 4, 5, 6 wide receiver is probably one of our other needs. We can look through free agency if someone gets cut from the 53-man rosters off other teams. these are all good problems to have. I'm really pumped with the state where the Lions are in. I'm not mad that the starters didn't play in the preseason at all. I think this is very key. We're going to be well rested. Now it's all our focus is on Kansas City to go in there and upset the Chiefs on their ring ceremony night. It's finally here. Let's get excited. No more skepticism. The Detroit Lions honestly should make the playoffs this year. They should win the division. If they don't win the division, tough. But if they don't make the playoffs, that's a huge disappointment. It's your boy T. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please keep helping this channel grow. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.